Hello everybody, welcome to the Minnesota Range. Today I'm going to be looking at the Archangel SKS stock for the Norinco SKS. I'm going to go over what I like about the stock, what I hate about the stock, how the stock works and all its features, and then I'm going to go through a full disassembly because the stock does make the disassembly a little more difficult and more confusing than a regular SKS might. Let's get into it. So as a general overview, the stock looks pretty great. I can't complain about its looks. It adds the pistol grip, which the standard SKS doesn't. It adds an adjustable rear stock to it. It makes it compatible with exterior magazines, so you don't have to use the stripper clips anymore. However, there are some things that I really don't like about this. First of all, back here, if you take a look at the receiving cover, there's a nice plastic piece right here. Now, normally to field strip this gun, you just pop this lever up, and then this whole assembly comes off super neat. Well, this piece of plastic now blocks this receiver cover from coming back, so you can no longer take that off. So you have to go and fully disassemble this weapon in order to clean it, oil it, or do anything with it, which we're going to go over in a bit, but it involves taking off pretty much everything. Next, what I don't like about this is the stock doesn't fit the greatest with the actual rifle. Now, I bought the rifle this way, so it could potentially just be the guy who put it on before me. However, if you take a look here, this lever here is what you release up that releases the piston tube, and you release it even more and it shoots a giant spring loaded in here. However, when you're putting it back, if you take a look, it's hard to see, but there's actually like a little lever right there. Now, when you're putting it back together, when you put this back in, it is not possible currently to squeeze it down enough to put that lever back down. So what you have to do is you have to take a giant clamp and clamp it down. Next, I don't really hate it, I just wish it would have been a little, more useful than it is the rear stock adjustments. Like, you normally can just pull it back and it's super easy. With this one, you kind of have to two-hand it in order to get it to move, and even if you do, it doesn't move all that much. However, I do like how it has a cheek adjustment here, so you can raise or lower that as much as you want. Now, on to what I like about this rifle. Obviously, I do like how it adds a pistol grip. I do like how it allows exterior magazines, so you're no longer limited to the 10 or 15 that you could normally do before. Another thing I like is it is insanely accurate with the iron sights, and that's just an SKS thing. That's just my review of the SKS, it is insanely accurate with the iron sights. I was actually looking into getting a replacement for this top or receiver to get a Picatinny rail on there to put a sight on, but after shooting a few hundred rounds through it, I realized that the iron sights are about as good as it's gonna get, and I don't want to mess with that. Overall, the handling of the rifle, it is a long rifle, so it is heavy on your left arm if you're right-handed. However, with the pistol grip and the adjustable stock, it is extremely manageable when shooting. And the muzzle tip also helps. That was an addition. I don't believe it came with the stock. I believe it was bought with the stock though, so it might not come with it, but you can get it with it. Also, looking at the bottom, you do get some options for some attachments and such. This one is supposed to have a cleaning rod going through, but as you can see, it didn't come with one, so I make do with what I have. But it is nice that even though it is a very, very basic stock, you still do get some, options for customization, but nothing insanely. I mean, if you want to customize, buy an AR-15. Now, let's get into the actual disassembly of the rifle. It's going to be a voiceover because everything's going to be up close and personal with it. Some of the shots aren't the greatest, but I do what I can with my tiny little GoPro stand. I try to go over all the tips and tricks that you need to disassemble this rifle with this particular stock. However, it's pretty basic when it comes to disassembling rifles. It's not anything complex. Alright, the first step in disassembling this rifle is removing the gas tube. So what we're going to want to do is flip up this lever on top. Should release a mechanism that allows us to pull this top part off. However, you might need to take a screwdriver inside and pry up on it. Make sure you do not scratch the barrel of the gas tube underneath. Make sure you're only touching the plastic, and then with your hands you should just be able to pop it right off. Next, we're going to want to remove the spring inside the sight mount, so get your finger or something in front of it and then lift up on this lever. When working with this gun, make sure that you don't accidentally flip it up, otherwise the spring will shoot across the room. Next, you want to flip the gun over, and right behind the trigger there's a little plastic piece. All you gotta do is pull that off and it should reveal a button that we're going to push next. Here's a little better look at that button. It's right behind the trigger. Next, get a screwdriver in on that button and push down. You might need to get some good leverage. It should pop off. Then you can remove the spring that's hidden underneath. And now we're ready to remove the entire assembly out of the stock. Alright, next we're going to be disassembling the receiver cover and bolt assembly. So we're going to get a little screwdriver under here. Flip this lever up. The lever needs to be at a 90-degree angle from the rest of the rifle. If you have it too far down like this, it won't actually release it from the back when you push it away. So you have to have it at a 90-degree angle, and then it should slide straight out. Receiver cover should pop back. You can take that out, and then the spring will be exposed. That just slides right out with no issue. Set that aside. And then slide the bolt back, take that off, and then underneath is the firing pin assembly. Take that off. We won't be going into how to disassemble that today, but here we have a fully stripped SKS. Next, we're going to be assembling the rifle again. So take the firing pin and bolt, put them together like such, flip it upside down, then flip the whole gun upside down and put it on top. It can be very difficult to do this part if the gun is upright, so I found flipping the whole thing upside down makes it a lot easier to assemble. Next, you can take the spring, put that right in the back of the gun, and now we can grab our receiver cover. Once we prepare the lever here, sometimes can be a little finicky, but grab our receiver cover here, slide that on top. It should just need to be compressed a little bit, and if we push the lever here outwards, it'll allow it to snap in place, and then just click it in, and then slide this lever back down to its original position. Now we can insert the rifle back into the stock. It can be a little finicky, and you might have to adjust it a little bit. It's kind of hard to see on here, but it's really just a matter of feeling around to where the rifle sits properly in the stock. It'll just snap in like butter once you actually find that hot spot. Next, we're going to insert the tiny spring. Do not forget it. It will be very difficult to remove the trigger later if you forget to put that spring in. Next, we're going to line up these two prongs with the insert right there, and the trigger should just snap right down. Give it a whack or a good hard press and it should go in. Next, we're going to insert this high tension spring again. So you're just going to want to take a screwdriver or something to get enough, pressure on it to be able to get it in. Then you're going to snap that lever from the first step in place, and it should stay in. Next, we're going to take the gas tube. Inside of it, you can see there's a rod. That's going to be on the cleaning list in the description below. But you take this piece and it presses right back into the place it was before, and it should snap right into place. Now, this is one of the tricks that I had to figure out for myself when dealing with this particular stock. If you try to put down the main lever on the sights right now, it will not go down no matter what. It could be different on yours, but for me, if you have this issue like I did, you're going to want to take a big clamp and right on the junction point between the gas tube and the sight mount, you're just going to want to clamp it down just a little bit for that plastic to condense a little bit, just enough to where in a moment here you'll see we can flip this over, and then the original lever, just push it straight down and it should move down without any issue. Alright everybody, we just went over all the disassembly. Hopefully everything works out for you. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below and I would be happy to answer it. I've disassembled this rifle and reassembled it, oiled it, and done all of that 1,000 times. So I know this rifle pretty well. So if you have any other questions that I didn't go over in this video, obviously I can't put everything into this short video. But other than that, I'll see you next time.